I'm inside our Sandbox account here with Edulastic. And I was going to see if I couldn't answer your question for you. Over here on the right-hand taskbar, there's some extra buttons here that aren't in the free version. But underneath Library, you should have Item Bank and Test. Item Bank would be where you would peruse any of the item test questions that are available. Test would be where you build a test. So if you wanted to build a test, you just click on Test over here. And of course, it's going to bring up everything. You could use tests that have already been made. There's all sorts of stuff here. On this taskbar, you can scroll down and there's ways to filter this. So I might go to collections of questions. If our district were to purchase a library, if our school, as we go build a library of questions, you can have your own personal library of questions. I'm going to click Edulastic Certified Questions. And then if I come up in here and maybe I can go to Subject, click Social Studies, so it's not giving me math questions, that kind of item. So these are pre-done tests that I can build, or I can make a new test of my own. They are pioneering a smart build beta, which is where you set your preferences, and it will assemble a test from the item bank for you. It's kind of a it'll build it itself feature that they're working on. There is the snap quiz where you can upload your PDF and it will create an assessment, or you could just create from scratch. I'm going to enter the random name, something here for a test, and then I'm going to go to add items here. And so we'll pretend, sorry it's late, I'm tired. We'll pretend that we're in world history and we're going to do one on the Incas. So if I wanted to preview this question, I could poke the eyeball here and it will let me see it. This apparently has multiple passages, and that's because it'll let me go back and forth through this entire test, which is part of the Louisiana Educational Assessment Program, and pick what I want. So the key with some of these questions is we will have to align them to our own standards in here, particularly if they come from other educational platforms. You can come through here, you can pick this current one. You can add all of 11 items from this assessment if you wanted to. Check your answers, show your answers. You can clear. This button is actually, that's the button I think it is. Yes, that's the cool button where you can clone it, so you can make like an actual copy of it and then doctor it. So like if you didn't like one of the answer options, you could make a clone of it and then kind of zhuzh it to the way that you want to do it. And that one just expands the screen here. So if I wanted this one, I could add this item to my test, press the X, get out, and keep hunting for questions accordingly. And just dig. It does tell you kind of what type of question you're looking at. There, you can create a new item all on your own, and so you can decide what type of question you would like to have. So whether that's any wide variety of multiple choice setups, fill in the blank setups, including drag and drop, text entry, text drop downs. You can label images with them. You can classify, match, order, so you could sort, and any of those kind of, if you wanted to sequence particular events in history, you could do that. They have writing questions, so you can rich text, plain text, quick short answer, or they could upload a file, say of like an essay they wrote or something of that nature. If you wanted to build a passage, like a passage on the left, question on the right, you could do that. You could highlight specific items, like if they need to, like, highlight Georgia. You could shade, you could sentence response. Math has got its own rodeo, graphing, so if they needed to graph items, charts, and this might be real great if you were using data, maybe in social studies or economics or something of that nature. You can also do the multi-part questions, so if you need the multi-part drop-downs, or in Lit, this kind of combination multi-part is super popular. You can also, under the instructions feature, you can upload video, or you can just upload text to embed video or text within your assessment. So if you wanted them to watch a little clip and then answer some questions, they could do that. Might be helpful for like U.S. history and film that Jody teaches if she wanted them to look at a particular clip and answer some questions or something like that. Sorry, I don't mean to be yawning on you like that. I'm dying here. It's late. So that should give you like a brief overview of kind of what goes on in here. Since I'm going, I'll show you the insights bar real quick, which is the data platform. So these are just some of the assessments, or sorry, data assessment reports that it will craft from the teacher account. I'm actually in the teacher sandbox account, not the admin sandbox account. So it does tons of stuff. And then, of course, there's the data studio as well, which we'll have access to. We'll have to get our way there, but we will eventually. This was the assessment summary. Like we said, that Michelle sewed in the sandbox account. I guess they're reading The House on Mango Street. So you can see the average data here. It's not wanting to scroll. Let me give it a second. It hasn't loaded in yet. It's taking forever to load. But I know generally if you scroll down, you can see, like, by kid, data that way. It will go by subgroup. So if you wanted to check your class subgroups, you would be able to do that on each particular assessment. It'll give you a question analysis, including how long it took on average to answer each question, so you know if they're spending a reasonable or authentic amount of time answering the questions. It gives us what items are most difficult, items that are misunderstood. It'll highlight low performance. It gives us a standard that they're tied to. Right here, it'll also track how often they answer particular types of assessments. It'll give you a breakdown of the standards over time. Any standard that they're being assessed on. Here's the kiddos, and it'll show you how they're doing on each one and their average for that performance standard. Student band. And you can add students to groups and go from there. And like I said, that's just the one kind of basic entry report that it's got in the Insight container. You would get to your classes by going to the dashboard, and that is where all of your classes would line up. You can also see some of the curated tests that they've got down here, and of course you can view more and go from there. So like I said, not all of this available in the free account, but you should have item bank and test, and building assessments was really just as easy as scanning, finding the questions you want, and dropping them in there. So really no harder than Illuminate to pick and build a test. Like I said, if you've got any other questions or anything you think of, feel free to shoot them my way, and I'll see you tomorrow.